Hey guys, it's Sebastian from AskSebby, and today we are going to talk about how to convince someone who doesn't have a lot of credit cards, who doesn't really understand the space, into thinking that you are not crazy. So, Courtney, if I have 20 cards, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it sounds a little excessive. Like a lot of cards. I mean, can you even fit it all in one wallet? I think that you're just crazy in debt. You're somehow getting all these credit cards. I don't know why you're getting all of them. And it just sounds like you just keep wanting credit cards, and I don't know why. Well, it makes sense, but I think you have to understand why, because I kind of know what you do already. But again, when you say, oh, hey, I have 20 credit cards and I do it to go on trips, it just sounds like you're racking up money. So it's an assumption that I would just automatically make.
So today we're going to talk about how to kind of fix situations like this if you even want to bother fixing it. Just because, again, I do realize that some people have to deal with family members and stuff who are like, hey, do you need help? Do you need a triple Alcoholics Anonymous or something, another service like that in order to kind of help you cope with stuff? Maybe you're dealing with other financial troubles. Maybe you should be watching other YouTubers who know how to deal with debt and stuff. So again, the idea here and the point of this channel isn't to accrue debt, it's to make sure that you're getting positive expected value. So you might put in $5, $10, whatever else, but you need to make sure that you're getting $20, $30, $40 back in value to make sure that you're coming out ahead. For her first concern, it was managing it on one wallet, and one of the benefits is that you typically don't need all of your cards with you, so a lot of the cards that we talk about end up being keeper cards that you only use when it's strategic to use them. Beyond that, you don't really need to carry them. I have talked about how I kind of manage my cards, so you can buy something like a $5 or I think $10 card holder on Amazon, and then just carry the ones that you need for yourself. I typically only carry about 3 credit cards, maybe a bit more in terms of my travel wallet, especially if we are in a place like Hong Kong where you need cash, because a lot of places just don't take credit cards. And it's not too hard to check all of your accounts. If you're someone who ever checks Facebook, Twitter, anything else every day, or even once a week, you can easily log in and check your Chase balance or Bank of America balance. So I typically end up doing this while watching YouTube or watching Netflix or whatever else. Concern number 2 is debt, and I know that's going to be the biggest one for most people because most people associate credit cards with debt. And to an extent, I get that because a lot of people are using credit cards irresponsibly. I think even the media and what we've learned from television and stuff, people always assume, oh, credit cards, you're probably maxing it out. And the funny thing is, we have, and Mandy and I have both seen people like this when we have dinner. So they'll be talking beside us, oh, I just got approved for $10,000. Do you want to go on a shopping trip? Because they view the credit limit as money they have rather than money that they're going to owe, or kind of as a line of credit to maximize their value. So for me and for I think a lot of people, it goes back into getting positive value. There are cases where you might want to get in debt in very specific circumstances. So if you're a developer and everything you have burns down, then yes, you might want to have 1 or 2 months of credit card debt to buy that MacBook because it helps you earn money and you know that it earns you money. In terms of managing debt, I'm someone who ends up paying off my credit card bills once a week, pretty much down to either $1, sometimes $10, depending on the card, in order to make sure, firstly, that utilization is low, secondly, that banks don't get too worried if I do travel and I'm racking up a big balances on terms of hotels and stuff, in terms of group fees. So you might want to do that yourself in order to manage your budget. And I also feel like that helps other people not think you're in debt if you need to worry about that. So they're like, oh, you must be in a lot of credit card debt. It's like, no, my balances are probably about $10 because I have 10 cards and each one's at that $1 range. For me, and I think for a lot of people, you want to make sure that you're not spending money that you don't have. If you don't have it in your bank account to pay it off, you shouldn't be using it on a credit card. And that's one of the big misconceptions, that people think that we're spending beyond our means, and that's not the goal. The goal is like, hey, I'm going to spend this money anyways. I'm buying this computer, I'm buying whatever else, I'm paying rents. Why not get an extra 5%? Or if you're hitting sign-up bonuses, why not get an extra 30 or 40% return on that spend? The funny thing too is that I hear people complaining about something breaking, and I'm like, oh, well, if you used a credit card, then you would be covered for that for your phone or whatever else. So we have another friend who ended up losing their phone, and technically they had a Wells Fargo card, but they didn't end up using it for that perk. So they ended up losing something like $500 or $600 because of that. So to me, that's not really that smart when you could have taken probably 5 minutes and saved yourself $600. Same thing with stuff like extended warranty, return protection, and price protection. People are like, oh, I bought something, price decreased. With a lot of cards, you can kind of match down to it. And no, you're not paying interest, you're not accruing debts in order to do that. It's the same mentality of using money that you have. If you don't have it, don't use it. The final point she mentioned was, well, why are you doing this? What's the point? Yes, you can kind of travel for free. Yes, you can kind of subsidize a lot of the costs. You're still paying taxes and some of the fees. And what's the point? So the big point is that for me, I've been able to do a lot more trips that I either wouldn't have been willing to pay for or I just wouldn't have done. And even for next year, I have a bunch of trips lined up. And even if you are someone who's like, well, I don't mind paying that amount, I don't mind going on the flight and whatever else, that's fine. You can still use cards in order to experience things you otherwise wouldn't. So for me, one of my goals is to kind of use all these points and stuff to experience things that I wouldn't pay for. Hotels being a very interesting one. So there might be a property that might cost $1,000 and people might save up years in order to do this. But for me, if I can do it just by signing up for one card and I can be like, oh, I can stay there for 2 nights, why wouldn't I do that? Bora Bora, Maldives, whatever else being very good examples of this, where a lot of the people that we talk to, they're like, oh, we spent $12,000 to $16,000. Oh, there's this other couple that was really smart. They only had to spend $8,000 because they booked it through Costco. And for us, I think Mandy and I were looking at each other and we're like, oh, we didn't pay for any of the hotels and the flights we ended up paying for, but we could have used points. We ended up paying for it just to expense it. But beyond that, it wasn't even that unreasonable. It was something in the $600 range for the flights to Tahiti, and then from Tahiti to Bora Bora, it was about $300. So yes, we had to pay out of pocket for that, but that was expensible given that there's this, and if it wasn't, we both had enough chase points that we could have easily covered it. So the takeaway is that you can take more trips if you are someone who hasn't been taking any trips, or if you can already pay for that if you have the finances to take more YOLO-esque trips that are aspirational that people save up years for. Outside of kind of the boring resorty stuff, I've seen some people go to Aspen, go to a lot of other properties during prime time during ski season when it's pretty expensive, and they are staying at properties that are ski in, ski out, meaning that it's just it's a better experience. You can kind of have a lot more fun and you're not as worried about your finances in terms of doing this. So some people are like, oh, well, if I'm rich, I don't need any credit cards. I don't need to pay for travel. I don't need to worry about these points because I'm going to be rich. But until that happens, it's like winning the lottery. It's like, oh, if I win the lottery, when I win it, I'm going to buy this island. I'm going to buy this car. It's like that hasn't happened yet. So if it's unlikely to happen, especially, then why would you think and plan for that rather than kind of thinking about the middle ground as well? So it's kind of like thinking about, oh, what am I going to do once I'm at this paradise at the end of this long walk, but you still have to deal with that walk first. And if you can do something to make that walk more bearable, to have extra water, to have a soda, I don't know where this example is going, but again, hopefully that makes sense. For me, the way I've been kind of dealing with any of these type of questions, especially people who think I'm crazy, is obviously for me, I'm very data driven, so I know I'm coming out ahead. And it's kind of like, who's the rational one? Who's the irrational one? Obviously, I have a YouTube channel, so it's easy to explain stuff. But even beyond that, even with some relatives who are like, you must be in debt, I end up just, for the most part, either showing them the trips and being like, hey, I paid about 10 cents on the dollar for this, on this trip that you've been thinking about for 10 years. In terms of explaining whether credit cards are evil and kind of all of that, the way I like to do it is, it's kind of like alcohol. For some people, it's really bad. They should definitely stay away. It's not for them. For other people, I think it's fine. You can kind of get into it and be interested in it or just enjoy it responsibly. For us, we're kind of weird because we're the ones reviewing like the high-end alcohol and being like, oh, this type of vodka is better than this type of vodka if you're making a specific drink. Or, oh, the age 21 is better than the age 19, even though it costs 50% more because of whatever reason. So I feel like we're kind of in a weird zone. I definitely agree with that because that's also kind of true with any other hobby. If you look into cars, if you look into wine and alcohol and stuff, pretty much anything is going to have a lot of enthusiasts. And for me, I like a lot of different things. I like keyboards, I like headphones, I like a lot of different items that require a lot of research and end up requiring me to spend money. But if this hobby, with this interest, my research ends up becoming either trips or becoming money back in my pocket rather than me spending money on a $200 keyboard, which I still enjoy because it's the cost of the use and it makes sense for me. Kind of a random video, but hopefully that was helpful. My question for you guys is, what type of criticisms have you dealt with? And also, how do you rationalize it to yourself and also to them, or do you not really bother? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, it really helps us out. If you know anyone else who'd benefit from what we just talked about, feel free to share this video with them because it's probably going to help them out. But otherwise, hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time.